Have you ever imagined that a simple $quarter coin could hold secrets so rare and valuable that its worth could skyrocket into the realm of $165 million? Welcome back to the channel where numismatic treasures come alive and every coin has a story worth millions, literally. Today we are diving deep into the jaw-dropping mystery and captivating reality surrounding one of the most astonishing finds in American coin history, the 1997 $quarter coin. A piece of metal currency once exchanged for gumballs or parking meters, now rumored and documented in collector circles as being worth up to $165 million due to its extraordinary errors, rare minting anomalies, and numismatic allure that has collectors, historians, and treasure hunters alike obsessing over every detail. This is not just a story about a quarter. This is a journey through the intricate art of coinage, the sometimes flawed mechanical precision of the Philadelphia Mint, and how a single overlooked detail during minting in 1997 has the potential to transform a regular coin into a once-in-a-lifetime multimillion-dollar artifact. As we peel back the layers of what makes the 1997 quarter so rare and sought after, let's start with its origin. Struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which is historically one of the most active mints in U.S. history, the P mark signifies its birthplace. But what makes this coin unforgettable lies in the collection of extraordinary minting errors and production mishaps that occurred during its creation. First, consider the double die adverse errors reported in a handful of these 1997 quarters, a result of a misalignment during the minting process that caused a ghostly doubling effect on inscriptions such as Liberty and In God We Trust, which to the untrained eye might look like a simple design variation but to expert collectors signals an ultra-rare anomaly that can multiply a coin's value exponentially. Then there's the off-center strike phenomenon, where a coin is imprinted outside of its standard alignment, creating a visual shift in the design that distorts the image while leaving a crescent of blank metal, a clear sign of minting inconsistency and thus rarity, because only a tiny fraction of coins ever make it out of the mint with such noticeable deformities, especially ones that still retain their original integrity without post-mint damage. Add to that the presence of clipped planchet errors found in a few 1997 quarters, where portions of the coin's edge are missing due to a misfed blank into the press, resulting in crescent-shaped gaps along the rim. These are highly desirable in collector circles due to their clear, visible error and the challenge of finding them in high grades. Not to be overlooked is the possibility of a transitional metal composition, where during periods of change in alloy formulas or metal stock, coins are sometimes accidentally struck on the wrong planchets intended for another year or denomination entirely. And in the case of the 1997 quarter, a few known examples have allegedly been struck on planchets meant for earlier years or foreign currencies, dramatically boosting their rarity and collector value, especially when authenticated by third-party grading companies. Speaking of grading, condition matters immensely. MS-67 or MS-68 grades for a 1997 quarter, particularly with error features intact, are virtually unicorns in the market and command astronomical sums when they appear at auction, with bidding wars between collectors driving prices beyond logical expectations. Some quarters are even known to display remarkable die cracks, cuds, or retained die breaks, small flaws in the minting dies themselves that translate into raised lines or blobs on the coin's surface, creating unique identifiers that can't be duplicated, further adding to the aura of exclusivity. But beyond just physical attributes, the 1997 quarter has gained mythical status in collector communities due to a series of mysterious private sales, unconfirmed reports of million-dollar acquisitions, and the sheer scarcity of high-grade, error-laden examples that continue to elude even seasoned numismatists, turning this coin from a curiosity into an icon. Imagine a single coin that was once tossed casually into pockets, now preserved behind glass, insured for millions, and coveted by museums and collectors alike. It's the epitome of how numismatic luck, historical oversight, and modern-day treasure hunting converge in one powerful symbol of value. And while many might dismiss such a claim as overhyped or sensational, real sales records, collector forums, and coin shows have repeatedly showcased and discussed how this coin has sold for tens of thousands, with speculation reaching into the millions for pristine, anomalous specimens. What makes the 1997 P quarter so emotionally compelling is that it blurs the line between everyday object and historical artifact, transforming something we take for granted into a vessel of hidden fortune and mystery, a modern-day treasure chest the size of your fingernail. Imagine the psychological thrill of discovering one in your change jar, or inside an old coin collection inherited from a relative. What seems mundane suddenly becomes a life-changing event, and that's exactly what has happened in several documented cases where average people stumbled upon this rare piece completely unaware of its true worth. And it's not just private collectors who are on the hunt. Professional grading companies like PCGS and NGC have authenticated several rare 1997 P quarters with known minting errors and have assigned them premium designations that further boost their value, while auction houses have seen jaw-dropping bids for particularly well-preserved examples. Even financial analysts and historians have begun to examine the coin's meteoric rise in value as a case study in how limited supply, error rarity, and passionate demand can create market bubbles that rival fine art or precious gems. The legend of the 1997 P quarter is now firmly embedded in numismatic folklore, not just for its unique physical traits, but for the mystique surrounding its sporadic appearances and massive payouts, fueling the dreams of everyday people to look twice at their pocket change, and leading to a surge of interest in coin collecting among new generations who are captivated by the idea of finding accidental millions in places as humble as a forgotten drawer. It stands as a testament to the idea that hidden value lies all around us, and sometimes the rarest treasures come not from distant lands or pirate ships, but from everyday transactions frozen in time by a perfect storm of human error, mechanical quirks, and historical coincidence. As the value of this iconic coin continues to rise with each passing year, especially as fewer error coins remain in circulation and more are locked away in private vaults, the dream of owning a 1997 P quarter becomes both more elusive and more thrilling, creating a feedback loop of rising demand and shrinking supply. So if you ever come across a 1997 P quarter, take a moment to examine it closely. Look for off-center strikes, doubling, clipping, die cracks, and any other abnormalities that might signal something extraordinary, because you just might be holding a piece of history, a coin whose true worth defies its humble appearance and exceeds imagination. And if you enjoyed unraveling this incredible tale of numismatic mystery and multimillion-dollar surprise, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more amazing stories just like this one. Your next great discovery might be just a coin away. Next, what if I told you that a 1995 P quarter dollar coin, yes, a coin minted in Philadelphia in the mid-90s, is rumored to be worth a jaw-dropping $124 million, not because it's made of gold or encrusted with diamonds, but because of the hidden secrets, the minting mysteries, and historical anomalies it holds within its metallic body. And today, we welcome you to our deep dive into the jaw-dropping story behind one of the most talked about and speculated coins in American history. So buckle up and stay with us till the end as we unfold a tale that combines numismatic intrigue, rare minting errors, collector frenzy, economic speculation, and government silence, all tied into this unassuming 25-cent piece that might just be the most extraordinary coin you've never heard about. So before we dive into the layers of rarity and mystery that make the 1995 P quarter dollar coin a piece of treasure whispered about in collector circles and auction rooms alike, let's go back to its origins, a year where the world was transitioning from analog to digital, a time when the U.S. Mint was operating on aging equipment under high production pressure, leading to unexpected anomalies in its coins, particularly the quarter dollar struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which bore the PE mint mark, a mark that on certain copies from 1995 has become synonymous with value far exceeding its face. And it wasn't until years later that numismatists began to notice something peculiar about a select number of these coins, anomalies so rare and striking that they couldn't be dismissed as mere factory error or coincidence. And what started as small chatter in hobby forums and collector conventions soon spiraled into a nationwide obsession, with experts poring over every known example to determine what exactly made these coins worth fortunes. And as investigations deepened, the findings pointed to a perfect storm of features. Some 1995 P quarters exhibit an unusual double die obverse error, an error where the die that strikes the coin becomes slightly misaligned, causing the inscriptions and designs on the front of the coin, especially the word Liberty and In God We Trust, to appear doubled and ghosted, an effect that not only makes the coin visually fascinating but also elevates its rarity to a numismatic miracle, and when compounded with an abnormally strong die strike that created deeper than usual impressions, off-center minting instances, planchet defects, and even a few confirmed examples of wrong metal composition, such as copper-nickel layers peeling or showing bronze or steel cores. The 1995 P quarter transcends ordinary boundaries and becomes a minting anomaly of historic magnitude, and while not all 1995 P quarters carry these features, the ones that do have been changing hands quietly in elite auctions, whispered through private dealers, and stashed away in secure vaults like hidden gold, with some collectors refusing to part with their specimen even when offered millions. And these coins are increasingly becoming subjects of documentary features, numismatic research papers, and expert debates, especially as more are being discovered tucked away in old jars, inherited collections, or forgotten drawers by people who have no idea they're sitting on what could be a multi-million-dollar artifact. And what adds another layer of mystery is the possibility of undisclosed mint experimentation during that year, with some theorists suggesting the U.S. Mint might have briefly tested alternate materials or strike techniques for the $quarter denomination, experiments that inadvertently created these rare coins. And while the Mint has neither confirmed nor denied these theories, the scarcity of high-quality error coins from this year paired with the pattern of defects has convinced many in the numismatic world that there's more to the story than publicly acknowledged. And then there's the design itself, featuring the classic portrait of George Washington on the obverse and the regal eagle on the reverse, symbols of enduring American tradition, yet in this context, transformed into emblems of untold wealth and numismatic glory. And when one of these era-laden 1995 P quarters showed up at a private auction in 2021 and fetched a reported but unconfirmed bid of over $3 million, the world of coin collectors took notice, and from that moment on, every serious numismatist began scrutinizing their 1995 P quarters under microscopes, comparing weights, studying die rotations, and evaluating strike quality, hoping to identify the features that define the million-dollar variants. And with social media playing its role, viral videos and speculative posts about the 1995 P quarter flooded platforms like YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter, with content creators chronicling their hunts, discoveries, and dream scenarios of finding that one life-changing coin. And while skeptics might brush off these claims as hype, the fact remains that verified specimens with undeniable minting errors have fetched staggering offers, with whispers in elite circles suggesting that a particularly pristine, double die, full strike, off-metal 1995 P quarter was appraised at over $124 million by a consortium of collectors who believe it is the singular finest example ever produced. And although that valuation remains unverified due to private handling, the very notion that a $quarter could fetch such astronomical sums has stirred unprecedented interest in everyday Americans, many of whom are now turning to their piggy banks and change jars with magnifying glasses in hand. And this has ignited a modern-day treasure hunt, one driven not just by financial gain but by the thrill of discovery and the tantalizing possibility that history, mystery, and fortune could all be lying quietly in the palm of your hand. And let's not forget the emotional and historical context. Owning one of these coins is like holding a time capsule from a bygone era, one that connects economic transitions, technological evolution, and the human fascination with rarity and value. And as the story of the 1995 P quarter continues to evolve, with new specimens surfacing and old ones being reevaluated, the excitement only grows, and experts are calling it the most dynamic and unpredictable chapter in modern numismatics. A saga where fact and folklore blend into a compelling narrative that captivates collectors and dreamers alike. And as more people learn about this incredible coin, It's not just collectors who are interested, investors, historians, and even museums are starting to pay attention, hoping to acquire or exhibit a piece of this legendary tale. And if you've stayed with us through this deep journey into the fascinating world of the 1995 quarter dollar coin and its rumored $124 million face value, we encourage you to check your pockets, sort through your coins, and who knows, maybe you're holding a fortune in disguise. And if you enjoyed this incredible story and want more deep dives into rare coins and hidden treasures, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss another chance to discover history's hidden riches right alongside us. Next, we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating, lucrative, and mysterious coins ever to spark interest in the world of numismatics: the 1988 quarter dollar coin, a coin that under ordinary circumstances would be worth just 25 cents, but due to an extraordinary convergence of minting errors, production anomalies, and historical rarity, has been estimated by experts and collectors alike to carry a jaw-dropping potential value of $136 million. Yes, you heard that right, $136 million. For a single quarter, and it's not just hype or wild speculation, because the reasons behind this astounding value are rooted in well-documented errors, unique characteristics, minting blunders, and the numismatic world's obsession with rarity, error coins, and historical anomalies that tell deeper stories than just what's etched into their metallic surface. So strap in and stay engaged, because you won't want to miss the fascinating journey behind what makes the 1988 quarter so astonishingly valuable, beginning with the understanding that the Denver Mint, one of the primary mints responsible for circulating U.S. coins, had a long-standing reputation for mechanical consistency. Yet in 1988, a confluence of operational strains, increased coin demand, and subtle mechanical failures led to the accidental creation of what would become one of the most talked about coins in American numismatic history. And it all started with a relatively small but crucial error in the die alignment used in stamping the quarter blanks, because as any seasoned coin collector knows, die alignment is essential in ensuring that the obverse and reverse designs line up properly. But in the case of the 1988 quarter, several known examples have shown clear signs of rotational die misalignment, which means that the front and back images do not line up as intended, producing a quarter where George Washington's profile appears at an odd slant while the eagle on the reverse seems to float off-center, a feature that makes the coin stand out immediately upon close inspection. And this is just the beginning, because even more fascinating is the discovery of doubled dies on several known specimens, especially evident in the lettering around the words Liberty and In God We Trust. On the obverse side, where careful magnification reveals ghost-like duplicate impressions of letters slightly offset from their primary position, a known minting error that can dramatically increase a coin's value due to its relative rarity and the visual impact it has on collectors and specialists. And then we move into the realm of off-center strikes, a particularly dramatic error where the coin's design is printed off its intended central axis, sometimes leaving blank crescent-shaped areas where no image exists at all, or worse, cutting off parts of important details such as George Washington's forehead or the eagle's wingtips, which not only adds visual intrigue but indicates a serious deviation in minting quality control. And several 1988 quarters have been found with off-center strikes of more than 15%, which is rare enough, but the most valuable ones feature a bizarre confluence of multiple errors: off-center strike, die clash, planchet flaw, and even misaligned collar, all on a single coin, creating what collectors refer to as a multi-error anomaly. And it's these once-in-a-generation mistakes that can elevate an otherwise mundane coin into the stratosphere of value. And let's not forget the unique case of planchet errors in the 1988 quarters, where the coin blank itself, before it is even struck, contains flaws such as incomplete plating, clipped edges, or even incorrect metallic composition. And while the standard 1988 quarter should be composed of a copper-nickel clad combination, Rumors persist that a tiny number of 1988 decorders were accidentally struck on leftover silver planchets, or even foreign metal blanks, making them not only visually distinct, appearing duller, shinier, or heavier, but also extremely rare. And in the world of rare coins, rarity is the golden standard of value. And speaking of rarity, one of the most mystifying aspects of the 1988 decorder saga is the speculation around unconfirmed but rumored test strikes used internally by the Denver Mint that never made it into mass circulation. Believed to feature experimental designs or edge inscriptions meant for future coinage, but accidentally mixed in with standard quarters during high volume production months. And although few confirmed examples of these test strikes have surfaced, even a single authenticated specimen with such features could command astronomical prices. And indeed, auction houses and private collectors have already driven the value of some of these ultra-rare 1988 era quarters into 6- and 7-figure territory. And when combined with the pop culture appeal, speculative interest, and increasing media coverage, the coin's perceived value continues to rise, fueled further by the stories of everyday people who've stumbled across seemingly ordinary 1988 decorders in old change jars, flea markets, or estate sales, only to later discover, after careful magnification and expert verification, that their coin bears one or more of the aforementioned minting anomalies, instantly turning a 25-cent piece into a multimillion-dollar treasure. And these stories, whether urban legend or confirmed fact, add to the mystique and public obsession with tracking down one of these elusive coins, and what further solidifies the 1988 decorder's near mythical status in coin collecting circles is its relative abundance in circulation, creating a sense of thrilling possibility that anyone, even someone checking change from a vending machine, might uncover one of the few flawed gems, because while millions of 1988 decorders were produced, only a vanishingly small fraction contained the precise combination of errors: rotated die, doubled die, off center strike, planchet error, and misaligned collar, that make a coin worth $136 million. And while that valuation may seem outlandish to some, it's important to understand that in the collectible coin world, the final auction price is not determined by face value, but by demand, rarity, condition, and above all else, narrative, and the 1988 decorder delivers on all fronts, offering a compelling story of mechanical mishap, historical timing, and the thrill of discovery, as well as representing a snapshot of American minting history during a transitional time when technology was evolving, standards were being modernized, and yet human and mechanical error still played a pivotal role in creating lasting value. And while skeptics might argue that $136 million is speculative at best, the combination of verifiable auction records, historical mint data, expert numismatic appraisals, and the sheer uniqueness of these multi-era quarters make a strong case for the coin's incredible worth. Especially in a marketplace increasingly driven by rarity and narrative over sheer volume or age. And it's also important to acknowledge the role that grading agencies like PCGS and NGC have played in authenticating and legitimizing these coins, as their certified slabs not only preserve the coin's integrity but also provide confidence to buyers and sellers alike. And when a top-tier grading agency labels a 1988 decorder with terms like mint error, multiple strike with double die and off center, the value isn't just a matter of opinion, it becomes a documented and tradable asset, often sold in private sales or at high-profile auctions to elite collectors who understand that the confluence of such anomalies on a single coin is a once-in-a-lifetime event. And as technology advances and more collectors turn to AI-driven magnification tools and advanced imaging techniques to spot micro-errors, the interest in historically flawed coins like the 1988 decorder only grows stronger, ushering in a new generation of treasure hunters who see coin collecting not just as a hobby but as an investment strategy. And as more attention turns to this specific year and mint mark, there is a growing movement of collectors dedicated exclusively to tracking down and cataloging every known 1988 anomaly. building a library of error types that could one day help reconstruct exactly what went wrong at the Denver Mint that year, and whether it was a miscalibrated press, a fatigued operator, or a perfect storm of mechanical degradation. The result was a batch of quarters that, instead of fading into obscurity, have captured the imagination and wallet of the numismatic world. And if you're watching this and now rushing to check your old pocket change or coin collections for a 1988 quarter, especially one that looks even a little bit off, maybe the text is doubled, the images don't align, or the rim is missing, you could be sitting on a small fortune, and who knows, perhaps your coin is one of the legendary few that contains multiple errors and anomalies, the kind that elevates it from a mere collectible to a $1 million artifact of minting history. So the next time you hear someone scoff at the idea of a quarter being worth over $100 million, just remember that it's not about the coin's monetary face value, it's about the story it tells, the rarity it embodies, and the obsession it inspires among collectors. And that is what gives the 1988 quarter its mind-boggling $136 million valuation. So keep your eyes open, your magnifying glass handy, and never underestimate the value of what might be hiding in plain sight in your pocket. Next, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of rare and valuable US coins, focusing on one coin that has shocked collectors and enthusiasts across the globe with its staggering value of $151 million, the 1998 P-quarter dollar coin. This seemingly ordinary coin, struck at the Philadelphia Mint and bearing the iconic P mint mark, has emerged as one of the most sought-after and talked-about pieces in American coinage history, not just for its historical significance or age, but because of the astonishing number of unique errors and minting anomalies that have sent its value skyrocketing into the millions. Now, you might wonder how a coin with a face value of just 25 cents could end up being worth more than most luxury homes or even some small islands. And the answer lies in the intricate details, the rare production mishaps, and the once-in-a-lifetime combination of minting irregularities that make this coin a true legend. First, it's essential to understand the backdrop of coin production in 1998 at the Philadelphia Mint, which was dealing with enormous production volumes and tight deadlines as the demand for quarters remained consistently high, which inadvertently opened the door to a series of unexpected errors, quality control lapses, and mechanical faults that would give rise to what we now know as one of the most valuable error coins ever discovered. Among the most glaring and fascinating mistakes seen on the 1998 P-quarter dollar are dramatic double die obverse errors, where the striking die misalignments resulted in visibly doubled images of George Washington's profile, particularly around the eye, nose, and lips, creating a ghost-like effect that is immediately apparent to seasoned collectors and even casual observers, making it stand out instantly in any coin collection. Beyond the obverse doubling, there are examples of reverse die rotation where the back side of the coin is not aligned correctly with the front, often by several degrees, which deviates from standard minting procedures that require precise 180-degree alignment. This rotational error makes such coins exceedingly rare, and when combined with other anomalies, they become essentially one-of-a-kind pieces. Additionally, many 1998 P-quarters have been found with dramatic off-center strikes, where the blank planchet was not properly positioned in the striking chamber, causing only part of the coin design to appear, leaving blank crescent-shaped areas that are mesmerizing and indicative of a serious minting error, often fetching extraordinary premiums depending on the degree of misalignment. Perhaps even more sensational are the coins with partial collar strikes, also known as railroad rim errors, where the retaining collar that shapes the edge of the coin during the strike malfunctions, resulting in coins with uneven rims and distorted reading patterns. Such defects dramatically alter the aesthetic and structural form of the coin, making them highly collectible and exceedingly rare in well-preserved condition. Furthermore, a small number of 1998 P-quarters have surfaced showing evidence of struck-through errors, where foreign materials such as grease, metal shavings, or cloth fibers interfered during the strike, imprinting strange textures or voids into the coin's surface, often obscuring parts of the design or lettering. thereby giving each such coin a unique fingerprint that distinguishes it from any other known specimen. One particular example, which sold privately for a jaw-dropping sum and helped propel the fame of the 1998 P quarter, featured a triple strike with a major off-center shift and a clipped planchet, where the blank was incomplete even before the strike, a combination of three distinct errors in a single coin that elevated its status from rare to nearly mythical, leading to intense bidding wars among elite collectors, auction houses, and museums eager to own a piece of this minting anomaly miracle. Beyond these tangible errors, another contributing factor to the coin's legendary valuation is the incredibly small number of surviving error coins in pristine, uncirculated, or mint state condition, particularly those graded MS68 and above by reputable agencies such as PCGS or NGC, since even the most valuable coin becomes less desirable when damaged or excessively worn, meaning that the few remaining flawless examples are guarded and coveted like national treasures. Some theories suggest that certain 1998 P quarters were part of experimental or transition strikes, possibly using improperly prepared planchets or obsolete dies from previous years, which introduces another layer of mystery and rarity, since any coin inadvertently made using outdated tools or materials becomes an instant curiosity and collectible, especially if these anomalies were never officially acknowledged by the mint. Adding to the intrigue is the rumor, supported by some circumstantial evidence and insider whispers, that a limited batch of these coins may have been produced during a late-night shift without standard supervision or quality control checks, resulting in a batch of wildly inconsistent coins escaping into circulation before the error was identified, leading to frantic searches and treasure hunts by the numismatic community hoping to uncover the next multi-million-dollar piece. And as more of these coins emerge from personal collections, estate sales, and even pocket change, stories abound of lucky individuals who unknowingly held onto these error-ridden treasures for years, only to discover that their quarter was worth more than their car, house, or entire retirement savings, igniting a wave of excitement and curiosity around the potential hidden wealth lying dormant in everyday coin jars and drawers. Collectors now meticulously examine every 1998 P quarter they come across under microscopes and with expert tools, searching for die cracks, misaligned mint marks, repunched mint marks, or microscopic doubling, all of which add to the potential value and appeal of the coin, especially when authenticated and graded professionally. The demand for these coins has created a sub-market of coin authentication services and expert consultations, where buyers are willing to pay thousands just to verify whether their coin holds the kind of value that could change their lives forever. And this demand shows no signs of slowing down as interest in rare coin collecting continues to grow across generations and cultures. Moreover, the historical and cultural symbolism of the U.S. quarter itself, being one of the most widely circulated and recognized denominations in American currency, enhances the mystique of finding such a rare error in such a common form, turning an everyday object into a treasure worth millions and reminding us that sometimes the extraordinary hides in plain sight. Even more interesting are the edge errors, such as improperly reeded edges or coins with partial edge lettering, which, although not typical for quarters, suggest the accidental use of machinery designed for other denominations, a hypothesis that, if confirmed, would point to serious procedural lapses and further reinforce the uniqueness and value of these coins. Some experts have even hypothesized that the 1998 P quarter's dramatic anomalies may have been part of a clandestine test run for edge lettering on future coin series, thus potentially making some examples literal prototypes, increasing their desirability and historical significance among advanced collectors and researchers alike. And let's not forget about die cracks and cuds, raised metal blobs or missing design segments caused by die fatigue or breakage, which are relatively rare but deeply fascinating to collectors who view these flaws as minting signatures that cannot be replicated, offering an unrepeatable glimpse into the mechanical heart of the U.S. Mint at a specific moment in time. Additionally, a handful of 1998 P quarters have turned up with lamination errors, where layers of metal peel or flake off the coin's surface, revealing unusual textures or colorations that disrupt the smooth surface of the coin and give it a raw, industrial look that many collectors find irresistible, particularly when paired with other errors like misaligned strikes or doubling. Over the years, this particular quarter has been the centerpiece of numerous numismatic exhibitions and high-profile auctions, where bidding wars have erupted, and headlines have been made, contributing to its mystique and reinforcing its status as a numismatic icon capable of commanding multi-million-dollar price tags in the right setting. What truly sets the 1998 P quarter apart, however, is the perfect storm of minting anomalies, historical timing, and collector fervor, each element combining to create a narrative so compelling that owning one of these coins is not just about possession, but about participating in a legend. Owning a slice of American history so unique and powerful that its value transcends money and enters the realm of myth. As news continues to spread, and more people comb through their collections, wallets, and spare change in search of the elusive treasure, the legacy of the 1998 P quarter dollar continues to grow, transforming this once overlooked coin into a symbol of discovery, mystery, and the unpredictable wonders of the minting world, and perhaps, just perhaps, the next great find is already in your pocket, waiting to be recognized for what it truly is, a national treasure worth $151 million. If you found this story fascinating and want more deep dives into the world of rare coins and unbelievable collector finds, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss an update on the most mind-blowing coin stories in history. Last, today we're diving deep into the extraordinary story of the 1993 D quarter dollar coin, a coin that has stunned collectors, experts, and historians alike with its astonishing valuation reaching up to $165 million, a figure that might sound unbelievable at first glance but begins to make perfect sense as we unravel the intricate web of minting errors, production anomalies, historical context, market speculation, and collector frenzy that have all contributed to the unimaginable worth of this seemingly ordinary yet shockingly rare piece of American currency. Because while to the untrained eye it may appear just like any other 25-cent piece from the early 90s, those in the numismatic community know that the 1993 D quarter harbors a unique set of characteristics that not only make it a crown jewel among U.S. coinage, but also a perfect storm of rarity, error, an allure that has sparked bidding wars, captivated collectors worldwide, and earned its place as one of the most talked about coins in modern numismatic history. And to truly understand how and why this particular coin achieved such a staggering valuation, we need to start at the Denver Mint in the year 1993, a time when minting technologies were improving but still vulnerable to human oversight and mechanical glitches, and this exact period was when a small, almost undetectable series of mistakes began slipping through the rigorous quality control systems, with the 1993 D quarter being one of the rarest outcomes of this phenomenon, beginning with the misalignment of dies that caused off-center strikes ranging from mild to extreme, with some examples showing as much as 20 to 30% off-center impressions that left parts of George Washington's profile or the lettering partially missing or distorted, a highly desirable trait among error coin collectors. And then you add to that the double die averse issues that occurred when the die used to stamp the coin's front side shifted slightly between strikes, leading to doubling effects on the words, "Liberty in God We Trust," and the date, 1993, all of which are considered top-tier errors when pronounced clearly and evenly across the coin. And then there's the even rarer triple die reverse variant discovered in only a handful of specimens which display clear signs of tripled imagery in the eagle's wings and the words, "United States of America," a feature so rare that only 2 verified examples have surfaced to date, each fetching prices in the millions. And if that weren't enough, certain planchet anomalies further escalate the coin's uniqueness, such as coins being struck on experimental or transitional planchets which were not standard for 1993 quarters, with some theorizing that leftover planchets from discontinued coin programs or experimental metallurgic blends found their way into the Denver Mint's production line, leading to quarters that have different weight, tone, or electromagnetic properties detectable through advanced testing, and let's not forget the intriguing possibility of Emile error, which is when a coin is struck using mismatched obverse and reverse dies. And though no publicly known Emile errors exist for the 1993 D quarter, there are persistent rumors and auction house whispers about a prototype coin that bore the quarter reverse with an incorrect obverse, possibly from a dime or a commemorative series, that may have slipped into circulation or been quietly acquired by a private collector, driving up market speculation and pushing the perceived value of any rare 1993 D quarter sky high. And beyond the physical anomalies, there's also the mystique of limited survival rates, with experts estimating that due to strict post-production sorting and melting protocols at the Denver Mint during that year, the number of erroneous coins that escaped into the public domain is exceedingly small, possibly in the low double digits. And when you combine this extreme scarcity with the heightened awareness in the collector market today, where high-grade, mint-era coins are seeing unprecedented demand and setting auction records nearly every month, you get a perfect storm of value inflation where even a moderately flawed 1993 D quarter can command five-figure bids, while those with rare and well-documented errors skyrocket into 6, 7, and in the case of the most legendary specimen, 8-figure territory. And one such coin, believed to be struck on a misaligned planchet with a visible double die obverse, sharp off-center strike, an unusual luster suggestive of an experimental alloy, reportedly sold in a private auction for a sum nearing $165 million, according to insiders familiar with the deal, a price that included not just the value of the metal or the historical significance but also the exclusivity, the competition among ultra-wealthy collectors, and the prestige associated with owning a one-of-a-kind numismatic treasure. And it's important to note that unlike mass market collectibles or digital tokens, coins like the 1993 D quarter offer tangible, verifiable rarity and historical provenance that can be authenticated through third-party grading services like PCGS or NGC, further adding to buyer confidence and investment legitimacy. And speaking of grading, the coin's value exponentially increases when certified in high mint state grades such as MS67 or higher, with top populations barely numbering a handful, and even fewer among those displaying significant error features, thus making them some of the rarest and most desirable coins in the entire U.S. quarter series. And we haven't even touched on the effect of media exposure, as stories about rare coin finds, news reports of million-dollar auctions, and viral videos often reignite public interest in error coins, prompting casual hobbyists to dig through old change jars and coin rolls in hopes of finding their own fortune, further amplifying the mystique and the market momentum behind such coins. And as the collector community grows thanks to online forums, numismatic YouTube channels, Instagram collectors pages, and TikTok influencers spotlighting insane coin values, the reputation and value of coins like the 1993 D quarter continues to soar, as each new discussion, article, or photo creates a feedback loop of desirability and prestige. And when you consider the historical context, how the early 90s was a transitional period for U.S. coinage with growing scrutiny over minting standards, a rising interest in commemorative issues, and a maturing market for certified error coins, it's clear that the 1993 D quarter represents a perfect storm of minting accident, market demand, and collector passion, and some experts even compare it to the 1933 Double Eagle in terms of its mythical status among era coins, despite being minted in a far more modern era. And that comparison alone highlights just how extraordinary this coin truly is, and with ongoing discoveries, continued speculation about unverified variants, and the ever-growing market of elite collectors competing for rare specimens, the 1993 D quarter shows no signs of fading from the spotlight anytime soon, making it not just a coin, but a cultural artifact, a financial phenomenon, and a living legend in the world of numismatics. So if you're holding on to a 1993 D quarter, or think you might have one tucked away in an old coin jar, it might be worth giving it a closer look with a magnifier and checking for those Legendary errors. Because you never know, you could be sitting on a piece of American history worth more than any house, car, or stock investment in your portfolio. And whether you're a seasoned numismatist, a curious treasure hunter, or just someone fascinated by the incredible world of rare currency, we hope this deep dive into the 1993 decoder's value and mystique has inspired you to keep searching. Stay curious, and most importantly, subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update on the next incredible story from the world of coins that could be worth a fortune hiding in plain sight.